Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Dr. DJ, the time management diva. Johnson-Blake is her name. And we're going to be talking today about how to manage your time, mastering time, 5 wins for the effective time management. And I don't know about you, it's something I struggle with all the time, and especially when we're on these things, because they suck the time out of you. So how do we manage it? She says, while time management is critical to planning and a productive day, many people who attempt to manage time and get more done each day have failed because they do not plan accordingly. She's faced similar challenges as a paralegal before it came full circle in 1992 when she failed to file a personal injury legal complaint within a 2-year statute of limitations. After allowing this mistake to haunt her for years, she eventually earned a Master's of Public Administration and Doctor of Management and presented her thesis that defended her misdirection, which focused on time management, impact, and organizational success and leadership. And because of her mistake, which she made early in her career, time management was critical to her. Now she helps leaders and organizations learn effective time management and techniques to be more productive and effective with their time managers. There's so much more that we're going to be talking about here. I'd like you to read the rest, please, and let's get right into it. Time management. As I said, these things suck the life out of us. Time manages to get away from us. We're all on the same clock, but somehow it seems to be different for everybody. So I'm going to leave these on today. So yes, I love how we kind of get a cosmic 2x4, a mistake, or something that happens in our life that becomes that moment that really redirects us all together. And
Absolutely.
so, although it might have been a, ooh, whoopsie, how do you correct that one? Because how do you correct that one? You haven't met the deadline, and they're stickler for that, aren't they?
Yes, they
Uh, so it's a hard lesson to have, which you said haunted you for ages, but put you in this direction of understanding how important time management is, whether you're in business or not.
absolutely. Time management is essential to all of us. We need it every single day, whether we follow some type of plan or ritual. We need it.
Yeah.
Most of us get behind on things or either are disappointed because we didn't accomplish that much
Mhm.
during the day. But there are strategies that individuals, business owners, entrepreneurs, anybody, students
Yes.
can put into place that will help them be more effective. So strategies that help me may not always help you,
Mm.
but I still like to share them because people can pick the nuggets
Yeah.
that's going to help them be their best selves and the most efficient.
Adjust it to size, right?
Yes,
Rather than one
adjust
size
it.
fits all. It's a good idea, but how do you make it adjust to you?
Right.
And if you're a mom, if you're a single person, you're working, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Yes, we need a structure of time. And time is always going to come along and rob you somewhere along the line, distract you over here. Somebody's going to consume more time over here than they should. That's always going to happen. And then we are making up time, which very often pushes our time plan completely out of whack again. And then it's like, what happened?
I know, I know. And then, we tend to get more stress.
I
So
know.
we push ourselves like that, no matter what our personalities are. I know I am an extrovert. And so everything sometimes like I'm looking at the time, I'm talking to my colleagues in the different organizations that I help lead. And I was like, we're on the time here, we're on the time here.
Mhm.
It's just calm down, Dr. DJ, calm down. It's not that deep, but it has been always to me, especially since the early 90s.
Mm.
So, I'm a stickler for that and I believe it. Now, having said all of that,
Hmm.
in order for me to be the time management diva, I am not perfect.
Right. Right.
I have my challenges too. And a lot of times with all of us, there's always going to be something that suffers in
Yes.
order for us to work on what we're working on at the time. It just depends on priority and
Yeah.
planning.
I'm glad you said that because that was so in my thought is that you lay out what you want to achieve in the day, and the day something takes up more time. And it just needs to. It's just like what happens. You know, you thought you're going to get it done in that time period, but it needs more time. That means something else has to go. So don't put a priority at the end of the day,
Right.
right? Look at your priorities. What has to be done today? And what can you go? It's okay if it goes tomorrow, no sweat.
Absolutely. One of my practices is to have a to-do list with my top 3 to 5 tasks on them, right? Or
Mm,
priorities.
yes.
Yes, we have a list of 20, 25 things that we need to do in the week, the month, or however long
Mm,
it takes us to do it. But by focusing on those top 3 to 5 items, you don't feel as
mhm.
overwhelmed,
Yes.
especially if they are your priority items for the day or for the week. And then as you complete them, one task at a time,
Yeah.
you check it off the list and you pull up another task that is important and has a priority for you. And speaking of that, Tuesdays is Time Management Tuesday. This is my day that I proclaim by the Time Management Diva. And on this day, on Tuesdays, I provide time management tips and tricks on social media, for people to enjoy and pull those nuggets that will
Yeah.
work for them.
And the thing is, you don't know what's going to fit until you try it, right? And you may think, well, I'm going to put it here, but you know what? It's better. It works better here. And that is be flexible. Yes, we want to have the structure of time in order to meet our goals, but we can't become rigid over it. We've got to be flexible. Otherwise, we are going to get ourselves so stressed out and drop the ball somewhere.
Absolutely. You said it, flexibility is
Mm,
key. And, don't get too upset with yourself if it doesn't all
yeah.
happen. We know it's important, and some people live in that urgent mode where
Yes.
everything that's on their list is urgent. And, well, urgent is okay, but I say everything is an emergency. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
An emergency. And then they project that on the others or the other people that they work with, who already have this cadence with the flow that they're working in. And then all of a sudden, you have the emergencies. And that's where you have to make room for the emergencies to occur.
Yes.
That means you can't have a jam-packed calendar
Right. Right.
because something else will go to the bottom that really needs to be to the top because of the emergency. So allow some flexibility in there. That's the perfect word,
Yeah. Yeah.
flexibility.
I put, my show package that I send out, my shows are an hour, but please allow for more time. We don't know if we're going to have technical or having so much fun that
Yes,
we don't want to cut it off, right? And
right.
it's like, oh, I have another show in 10 minutes. Well, what are you talking about? No, you don't do it that way because it's actually a little insulting to the person that you're actually with.
Yes,
Hurry up, get on with it. I've got somewhere else to be because
right.
then that person doesn't feel you're present with them. And if you're sitting in a meeting constantly looking at your watch, constantly looking at your watch, it's like, well, do you even want to be here?
Right.
So there's a way of managing your time of where you're going to go next while honoring the time that you had with the person in front of you.
Absolutely. You want to be intentional
Yes.
when you're present here at a meeting or somewhere else, even if you're not facilitating it. And it does seem like you're anxious and doesn't want to be there. And you don't want
Yeah.
to come across like that. We always want to
No.
be
No.
kind, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
respectful of that. So, yes, time, 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 time. And one thing I like to say when it comes to time is the planning is very important and allowing for,
Mm,
those
mm,
the unexpected.
mm,
And sometimes we can't help that. But a lot of things that I like to share when people are looking for ways to be most effective is using the SMART acronym. Not sure if you're familiar with that one. And that's SMART, specific, making sure your goals, and this is all about goal planning as
mhm.
well. So your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, or relevant, and always has a time bound to it.
Right.
You say, okay, yes, I'm going to do this report this week. But what does this week mean? You don't have a time by it, right?
Right. Yes. Yes. When
And
does your week start and finish?
yes, right. You don't have a time by it, it doesn't seem like it's important and you could miss it, miss that opportunity to submit it. So yeah, something like me. But it's funny, if I could go back to the story that
Hmm.
impacted my life
Yes.
tremendously
Yes.
from the 90s, back then, we had the tickler system, and I don't know if you remember that. It's almost like
No.
a recipe card box. And then you have the months of the year and then the days for each month behind it. So January 1 through 31, and so forth. And so what you do is you put an index card, you put whatever your task is or deadline, and you put it behind the day that you need to look at it. Now, the issue is, or the problem is, do you remember to do that?
Do you remember to
This
look?
is in the
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Been there, done that. Yes.
right, right. And this is during the age where, yes, we had computers in the office, but they weren't as savvy as we
Yeah.
have now. So we may not have had a full Microsoft Office or, something like that to ding, ding, ding,
Yes.
remind me to look in the tickler file or remind me to file that claim. So we've come so far, and I absolutely love technology. Of
Yeah.
course, we live by our cell phones here, and that's how I manage all of my tasks. And
Yes.
some people like to have a physical planner, but
Yeah.
I like my digital.
I'm a digital person too because with pieces of paper I always lose them. It's so I have a Google Calendar because everything is on there, and I
Yep.
color code them as to what they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Yes.
So, I know,
Technique.
my podcasts are always blue. And then, my daughter's always red, the grandkids, and it's always knowing what color it is. And then you actually know, which priority it is. All right.
I
And that
love it.
helps you keep, because otherwise sometimes you can look at it and just see, one color all day and you get really and overwhelmed. But if it breaks up, then you know what you're doing. So I never used to be like that because I don't know if you know true colors, the personality test,
Yes, I do.
the gold, the structure, the
Yeah.
building blocks was in another building for me.
Right.
Completely. So when I had children, I had to set some gold in there, which was really difficult for me to have a routine and structure for the kids. It's funny enough on their personality traits, gold is in another building for all of them as well. So that's something they've had to learn. And of course, when I started podcasting, there is a structure to it. When I first started doing it, I had no idea what I was doing. So everything was building that structure. But
Yeah.
now I've set, a routine of what I do before shows, setting up for shows, after the shows, etc. And that I know has to be done within a time system. Whether it's done straight away, it has to be done before the next week because that's when the shows all come out. So it's allowing myself, oh, this block I can do all of this, and that block I can do all of that. And it does make it easier when you are writing it out, where
Yes.
you can see it
Yes.
and you go, okay, right now this is going to consume my time, so I need to move that up to there. But then now it becomes a different color because it needs to be done. So
Yes.
it's as a person who really struggled with any form of structure, having it has helped considerably because it allows me to still be creative and do all the other stuff that I do, but knowing my ABCs of how to do them in a way that I'm not going to suddenly have everything lost in the wind.
Absolutely. I commend you on that. And change is different.
Yeah.
Change is challenging. Change is a struggle for some of us. So yes, congratulations on doing that. And I want to say that I am an orange and gold is a strong second, but I'm an orange
Right.
first when
And
it
an
comes
orange
to color.
go-getter, folks.
Yeah.
I see it, I want it, I know how to get it, but your gold complements your orange because you know actually how to bring the structure to build it. So they're two
Right.
very good colors together.
Absolutely. I
I'm a
love it.
screaming blue out there somewhere.
Yes. Yes, and I facilitate those sessions from time to time, and we
Mhm.
have so much fun. And some people are surprised at what
Yes.
the dominant color
Yes.
is, but I love it. And if you can make learning fun,
Mm.
why not? You say?
Well, I
But
think it's a part of actually understanding how you tick.
yeah,
Right? You because you're an orange gold, you've got the vision, you know what needs to be done, and the gold knows how to do it. Well,
yeah,
if you haven't got those color coordination, we're not going to get what you're quite saying. A green personality, but I need more information. I
yeah,
need more data.
yeah.
A gold, okay, fine, I can go ahead and do that. Just give me the structure, give me the building blocks, I'll go and build it. A blue is, yes, but how is everybody going to feel about it?
Feel,
And I'm the feeler, right? So it's kind of it does help if we take these things to know what our personality trait is like, because then we know how to use the tools better.
absolutely. And also you know how to collaborate and communicate with others around you
Exactly.
as well. So
Yeah.
even though they may not have taken the true colors personality test, the signs.
Yeah.
And so you say, oh, that person is a green, they're a
Hmm.
blue. You know what I mean? And then you
Yes.
can know how to communicate with them and not get
Exactly.
frustrated because someone is not like you.
Exactly. And like we don't want to be like each other. We can relate to each other. We can go, oh, we've got some similarities here, which are nice. But do I want you to be exactly like me and me like exactly like you? How boring that would be. But it is that adaptability to how each one of us works. And if we're flexible and adaptable on that, then we're going to get more from each other.
Absolutely. You are so on point with that. And one other thing I wanted to say about your color coordination. So not only do you use it for your list and your
Mm-hmm.
task and your priority, but you use it for time. You can use it for time blocking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Time blocking is another strategy to determine what to do at a certain time and focus on that and not have your hands in so many different pots. Because
Right.
what happens is, multitasking, so to speak, you tend not to get much done. So
Yeah.
I believe in the one task at a time, to get it done, check it off, and go to the next things. Now, I'm not saying you can't, and let's say something from a personal perspective, you can't wash dishes if that's something you do and talk on the phone. Yes, you
Yeah.
can do that. But when you're doing focus work or things that demand you to make an effective decision, you can only do one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And again, coming back to that multitasking, doing that one thing at a time on several platforms. Like for me, when I've edited the podcast, it's going to be on video, it's going to be on audio. Now I have to upload it to those platforms. Well, I've set up a system that I can go to all of the platforms, and each one of them wants something different from you,
right.
right? But how to do it where I can copy and paste and put in and do them all at the same time. Because while that one's rendering, I'm now setting that one up. While that one's rendering and setting that one up, that's finished, and now I can do another one. And I know that within an hour I've got those shows uploaded, and
Right.
I'm not wasting time waiting for it to
No,
render. I'm being productive, but I'm still focusing on one task,
that's one task.
uploading.
Yeah.
Right.
What I
Yeah.
say, loading. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And you didn't learn that overnight.
No.
The more you did, more you
Trial
get
and
exposed.
tribulation.
Yeah, right. Your production, you're
Yeah.
the director, the producer,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and maybe sometimes the editor, and then
Yes.
still have to upload. So
Yeah. And I think this is the thing is that willing to learn. I have a motto with these podcasts: listen, learn, and apply. Right. And it's like when you listen to something and you learn a different technique, well, how are you going to apply it? And you don't know how it's going to work for you until you do apply it.
that's right.
And it's like, okay, I could maybe adjust it this way or adjust it that way, but give it a try and don't go, oh, it doesn't work.
Right.
Give it a little effort. Sometimes for something to fit, you have to tweak it a bit, right?
Absolutely.
And then you'll go, oh gosh, how did I live without this beforehand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did, but now you're gonna live it better,
Yes,
more efficient.
yes.
So that's what I like to say.
We all
Absolutely.
want to be efficient, whether we are running a household or whether we're running a business, which quite honestly, a household is a business. unpaid and ungratitude, but it is a business, right? But we all want to be efficient with our time. We want to know that if we have spare time, oh, I could spend a little on me, right? I've got spare time, or I can do something else that I've been putting off. But we don't want to waste time because that's so frustrating. Gosh, I could have got that done and I didn't. And where did the time go?
I know.
So it's really important having that time management, knowing in your time management, make sure you are allowing time for you or miscellaneous time.
Absolutely. A lot of times, I like to watch Netflix, like most
Mm,
people, or Hulu. And when I'm doing that, for the most part, 90% of my time, I am doing something else, but it's not a full multitask. I might just be putting away the clothes or something like
yes.
that at the
Yes.
same time.
Mundane stuff that you don't need a
Yeah,
brain
mundane
for.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel accomplished, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I still
Exactly.
got some me time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a good time, to do it. I really want to listen to that podcast, but this needs attentive. All right. So, okay, well, I can do that. That doesn't require any particular thought. It's just same old pattern. I can now listen to something. So not only have you got that done, but you've learned something along the way.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I love listening to podcasts in the car
Mm,
because I'm
yeah.
driving somewhere and I'm
Yes.
still learning at the same time
Exactly.
and being most efficient.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
We want to come away, with our life feeling accomplished. And the accomplished isn't, oh, the six figures and the fame and then this and that. It is like what you set out to do, you have accomplished,
Yes,
right? What you've left behind, your legacy, you've accomplished. And it wasn't like, well, I had all these ideas, but I never managed to get them done, which so many people have because they're flapping in the wind because they don't know how to do it or they don't know how to manage the time
that's
or they
right.
don't know how to reach out to people or listen to podcasts or whatever.
That's right. That's right. Because all the resources are out there
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
We do have to know where to look, or at least there's somebody in your circle that probably can direct you. And we have Google.
Yes. Oh my goodness. At my daughter's house, when she has a 3-year-old and a 16-month-old,
Mhm.
and I have Alexa here at my house, and my 3-year-old is Google.
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
Uh,
If only you know what? But I am glad that I grew up in the age that I
yes.
did because I can understand where we are today truly
Yeah.
and what we did or didn't have back then.
Yeah.
So going to the library to do
Yes.
destiny, not going to the computer,
Yeah.
just in case everything shuts down like we thought for
Right.
Y2K, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, I still can do it the old school manual way.
Yeah.
And I tell my son that too, who's born in 2000. So right there at the cusp, yeah, he has it great.
And I think it's actually good for them because there's some post came up the other day about the experience of a library and how important it is. And my daughter takes them to the library to pick a book and story time and reading. And I think when it comes to reading, paperback, turning the page rather than watching it on screen, because we want to minimize our screen time. Well, whoever way, as a child, it's been proven that it's brainwashing them and stopping their creativity and their neurons igniting. But for us, my eyesight has deteriorated considerably since I've been on this. So something I love to do, unfortunately, is not so good on me. But
Yeah.
what we need to do is find the balance. All right. Okay. I'm working online. I know I should cut the time down. How can I change that? Can I do something else with my time that isn't going to require that? And that means we've got to think out of the box. What box anyway,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. It's so funny you talk about screen time and glasses. So, yeah, these are my progressive glasses that I wear, and I typically will wear them on a show such
Yes,
as
these are
yours.
these are
But
computer
when I'm,
glasses.
yeah, and I love these glasses, but these is what I wear, my single vision
Mhm.
when I'm in front of the computer doing work.
Right.
It's so much clearer. And,
Yes.
and I waited too long to get them. I wish I could have gotten them years ago.
I
I'm
know,
so
I know.
cute. And then I got these, and it's amazing how much more efficient I am too. I'm
Exactly, because you can actually
understanding
see what you're doing.
what I'm doing.
I hear you. I got these recently because it's like the screen was going blurry. And then they said, well, you know, you can have glasses that are just for screen time.
Yeah. So
So, yeah,
finally, I got the prescription this year,
yeah, me
and I
too, just
absolutely love
recently.
it.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
hallelujah, I can now see what
Yes.
I'm doing, right? But
Yes.
I think it's, you know, for me, I used to work 6, 7 days a week at this, and then I moved closer to my grandchildren. So now I only 3 days a week do interviews and fit in the editing and the other days, and
You.
then grandparent time. And I think that is also something we need to look at is that especially if you're a beginning of a business, is setting one up, you know, it consumes all of your time. But we've got to be careful the working on your business and the working in your business, because if you don't have the balance and the time for self, the time to absorb, the time to come from the inside out, time with family, time with friends, then that you become inefficient in your business time, I think.
That is so true. And, one of the things I like to share with individuals is, and if it's within your budget, you don't have to do everything alone, even if you're
Yeah.
a single person business. You can outsource,
Yes.
some of your tasks. And a lot of people sometimes, well, I got to do it. I got to do it. I know what to do. And of course, it'll take time getting used to an individual doing some of your tasks.
Hmm.
You are clearly communicating how you want something done, I think it'll be okay. But outsourcing, bartering is
Yeah.
great too, because others have skill sets that you may not have that's in your circle. And that still can save time because it might take you an hour to do a task and it might take 15 minutes for someone else. That's 45 minutes of getting
Exactly.
your time back, right?
Yes.
To do
Yes.
what you want to do, even if it's leisure, because we do have to rest in between everything that we do for work and business and family.
Yes, yes. I mean, I do know orange personalities don't know how to rest. I was married to one.
Yeah.
So you know, you always go get it. And as blues are always visionaries. You know, there's always a story in the head, they're always seeing possibilities, etc. So we really do have to sometimes kind of force ourselves time for self, right? And you know, you've seen those social posts where somebody's cross-legged meditating. Hurry up, meditation! I haven't got all day. You know, it's like uh, for you, sitting down and chilling out may not be the thing. So maybe it is writing about going doing something, you know, that feeds the orange side of you, but at the same time is calming the rest of you down. And we have to discover what that is, don't we?
And yes, we do. And just a sidebar on vacation, I love cruises, right?
Hmm.
So I get the itinerary, I add it to my phone. I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. And I went with a group of folks one year, and they was like, "Well, when are you gonna relax?" I said, "This is my relaxation.
Hmm.
Taking a cooking class is my relaxation. Uh, doing, I'm not even gonna say bungee jumping. Uh, on the low. That's not my relaxation. That makes me nervous. But I love all of the activities. Even though I'm on vacation, I don't just want to sit.
Right.
I do for a little bit, but I want to be entertained and active. And just like cooking is one of my pastimes,
Mm.
that is my de-stressor.
Yes.
Yes, I enjoy that.
Yeah, yeah. Then my son too, he opened a restaurant because of that. You know, food is his love language,
Yes, it
right?
is.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
And you know, as a screaming blue, I'm an observer. I love sitting and watching people. I learned so much because it's what I learn, mannerisms, this, that, etc. But I never sit alone for long without somebody coming over to me, and I end up counseling somebody on something. You know? So I can't be alone for very long unless I'm in my cabin. But I get it with cruises. The other beautiful thing about that is that if you do not want to have the itinerary, I've got to rent a car, I've got to drive here, I've got to drive there. You know that you're going down to eat at a certain time, you're going to do this at a certain time. And there's a certain amount of de-stressing on that because you know things are being taken care of you and you can participate or not participate.
Absolutely.
And you're not having to take, you know, hands on the wheel, so to speak.
Yes. Yes. Depending on the cruise that you're on.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
exactly.
one where there's no time.
You're right. Yeah, no, no. I'm a little bit more of the mellow, but I'm a lot older, so I prefer the mellow one. So give me mellow and sunshine, right? So I'm fine with that. You know, time is something we all have 24 hours every day, and it's like we've all got dreams and passions that we want to achieve on. The one thing I've learned from the universe, because God laughs when you lay out plans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And like he gives me these wonderful visions that I've got to achieve. And the hair in me goes, I want to do it. We can do it this way, and it can do this and it can do that. And but I don't have that structure thing in that. So I've become the tortoise through my life. Was slow down. And as a tortoise, yes, I am slower, but what I've gathered along the way, the information, the wisdom, the people, and just, kind of connection
Mhm.
that I've made along the way. And it's, I never thought ever. If you talk to me in my youth, you're going to be a tortoise one day and not the hare. I would have laughed hysterically. But here I am. And I think it's just like pay attention to what your soul is asking you to do.
Mhm. I'm a servant leader. And as I think back to my childhood, I always have been one. When my mom
Yeah.
tells stories and things that I used to do and ask, and it's innate. I didn't
Yes.
have to learn that. And with being a servant leader, I realized decades ago that my purpose in life is to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no matter the capacity, it can be
Yeah.
something simple as somebody texting me for something, information, or calling me up, and I have it.
Mm-hmm.
They know I can get it quicker than they can,
Yeah.
and that's okay. I didn't embrace it though until about almost 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Look, and once I embrace who I am,
Mm-hmm.
life was much better. So sometimes, it might would have stressed me out or something. I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm doing God's work.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So how can I be upset at that? How can I get stressed at that? I'm not saying I don't get stressed,
Right.
but when you do it with love and coming
Yes.
from the heart and you know
Yes.
that's who you are, it's all good.
People say to
Truly.
me, who do you interview? Because I have I have 19 different genres here. Who do you interview? And I say, all those that come from the heart.
Yeah.
Because when you come from the heart, you're coming
Yes.
from a purpose. You're coming from a space of, I want to be of service,
Right.
right? I'm wanting to share the love in
Hmm.
whatever capacity. And that I feel has so much more impact than, oh, I'm just good at this.
Yeah,
But when the heart is in it, people feel it. And people are going to buy you before they buy from you.
that's right. Absolutely.
And they want to know the heart is in it. Do you truly believe in what you're doing? And they
Mhm.
say, what is it you believe? I want to know more, right? So I think it's very important. And kind of going back to being the plodder now, is 6 years ago, I was given a vision that, Sarah, you're going to do podcast books. And I did one, just an ebook in 2017. And then I knew I had a thing in here that I had to do something about children, because I really do feel we're letting our children down with the system, that everything, that they're just not being nurtured as the gift they are. It's everything about conforming and restraining them rather than allowing them the wings. So eventually the time came last year.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to do it. And all the people that I thought were going to be in it that I'd interviewed were either retired, this, that, or something, only one or two of them could be in it.
Mhm.
And then I thought, well, how am I going to find my people? And the next thing I know, I'm interviewing these people. And I thought, God, they're perfect for the book,
Yeah.
even though the topic was about something else, right?
Right.
So, and it ended up, our book, our Forgotten Children series, in
Mhm.
here, well, anthology about that, which is book one in the series. Another one will come out next year, and the next one is Our
Oh,
Forgotten Seniors,
yeah.
because we need to talk about seniors on one, and we're letting them down too. And if we're not aware, how do we care?
Mhm.
Now, I was given that 6, 7 years ago, and I kept saying, "Is it time now? Is it time now?" And I think, oh, I'll reach out, and then it didn't come together. It didn't mean it was wrong.
Right.
It just meant divinely it was the wrong time, because I had to wait for the synchronicity of other things to come into place
Absolutely.
for it to be the right time. So where we need to be efficient with time, we also need to listen to the right timing.
That's true. And even if you gather data, content, you still
Mm.
have it, for the right time. He's
Exactly.
preparing you.
Preparation. Yeah.
That's right. It's
Mm.
preparation. It's just preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's trust your gut,
Hmm.
right? Trust your gut. How does your gut feel? on whether it's time or not. You had that redirect of looking at how to be more efficient, which has led you in this career. You're always going to get something that's kind of what I call the nudge, nudge, wink, wink of the cosmic two by four. And you don't want the cosmic two by four. You want to pay attention to the nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Where is it time to move on? How can I conclude where I am and how can I prepare for the next journey? And that is all in time management, isn't it?
It is in time management, absolutely. Um, just, planning our lives in general.
Yes,
And if we don't have the goals or we don't have the plan, then how are we going to get there?
yeah, exactly. The
Right?
vision is great, but what are the next steps?
How are you going to
Yeah.
get there?
And
Instead of,
that's where the goal comes in, is how we're going to get there. And again, it's if you don't have it in yourself, borrow it from somebody, like this is the time to listen to the people who are the doers, who are the constructors.
Mhm.
How are they doing it? How can I implement that program, that system that it will allow me to reach my vision, my dream?
Yeah, absolutely. And then how do you know that you are achieving what you said you want to achieve?
Hmm.
Being able to measure it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And sometimes, like this, 5 years before it came to fruition, the measuring in time, well, it was measuring it and knowing how more and more important it was to do it and what kind of content I wanted in there. So we've also got to look at what is measurable because, well, I didn't achieve this, so how is it measurable? I
Mhm.
did achieve because I had a redirect on the thought of behind it. So that is measurable.
Mhm. And then when you're redirected, that's when that flexibility come in.
Yes.
You have to assess the plan constantly.
Yes.
No, because you got to tweak it here and there. Things change, a hiccup comes in or something, and now what are you going to do? Still
Yeah.
to move forward, you know.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
you've got a great vision and you really want to do that, but on your journey, you realize, hey, really, I need to turn the vision around because this is what I'm really meant to be seeing, not this. Right. And those are in the steps that you take, the more steps that you take forward towards what you want to achieve by building the foundation. In anything that you want to achieve, you've got to have roots. You've got to have a foundation to build on. You've got to have something that is strong enough to take the growth. And if you've got a weak foundation, however that growth is, it will crumble if the foundation is not there.
You are absolutely correct. Thank you for saying that. Yes. And then sometimes we need to hear that, and
Yeah.
that's when we reassess and reflect on what we're trying to do
Mm.
and what we're trying to achieve. So, yes, got to have that foundation. It has to be strong,
Yeah.
stronger than you anyway.
Yes. And to remember you are a part of that foundation.
Yes.
It's not just what you're doing, you are that foundation as well. The five elements that you have in managing your time,
Mhm.
are they ones that are kind of across the board no matter what you're doing? These are the ones that will help you wherever you go?
I think so, from my perspective. But like I said, what I think, may not
Yeah.
be for someone else, but I truly believe it does. And because you want me to go straight on? I can go straight on into those.
Go in, tell us. Dive
Yeah.
in, darling, dive in.
And balancing family,
Yes,
balancing
yes.
career, balancing business, all of it and personal is
Hmm.
a big responsibility and can be we feel overwhelmed sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That's just life. That's just how it is. And so the quick wins will give individual an opportunity for better time management. And so first, maybe I just need to define time management, and it's
Mm,
simple. So time management is actually spending time on important, achievable tasks and using time effectively and productively.
mhm.
So when you think about time management, it's not about managing the time, it's about managing the tasks and
Yes.
knowing how long it takes to complete most
Hmm.
tasks. Because that's what happens at the end of the day. But what did I get accomplished?
Yeah.
Or why didn't I? And like I said, I don't want you to stress out too much. I do want you to reassess so you can avoid this happening all of the time. But most often, besides those interruptions that come in, are
Mm,
unexpected interruption that we know are those emergencies. The things that you're working on, you need to have a grasp of how long does it really take to do it.
yeah,
Most of us underestimate how long it takes
yeah.
to do things on our to-do list. And even if you're looking at the top 3 to 5, as I mentioned earlier. So just knowing what time management is. But my 5 quick wins are, I like to call them this: focus and flow framework,
Mm-hmm.
rapid results routine
Mm-hmm.
is 2. Quick win 3 is turbo task time. Quick win 4 is productivity power day. And then quick win 5 is kind of like a bliss and balance break. And so I'll give you a little bit of information about each one. So
Please.
quick win 1, focus and flow framework. What am I saying there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying prioritize and delegate.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Right.
So to focus and flow, uh, one of the tools that I like to recommend is the Eisenhower matrix.
Mm,
It's such a powerful tool for prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. That's what it's based on. So it's designed to help individuals focus quickly in identifying and prioritizing tasks efficiently. Are
mm-hmm.
you familiar with the Eisenhower matrix?
No, I'm not actually.
Yeah. So with that, again, the goal is to schedule time for important, but not in this matrix, which is a 4 quadrants. You can schedule time for important but not urgent tasks,
Mm-hmm.
delegate or eliminate urgent but not important, and then eliminate tasks altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking at a quadrant and think about the top left, just four boxes together. The top left is urgent and important. And that means do it first
Right.
and immediately. These are those critical and time sensitive tasks, whether they're deadlines, emergencies, crisis management. So now think about the quadrant and look at the top right. These are important, but not urgent.
Right.
And these are things that you can schedule,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's strategic planning for your organization, relationship building, personal and professional development. Those are things you can schedule. If you look at the bottom left, urgent but not important. These are the things that you can delegate. Okay.
Mm,
And these tasks, it may require immediate attention, but it's not critical to achieving your goals right now. And so
right.
some of these things are those interruptions we get, and especially if we're working in the office,
Yeah.
maybe some emails and meetings. Okay. And then the bottom right is not urgent and not important.
Mm-hmm.
These tasks you may be able to eliminate, but overall, these tasks do not contribute
Mm,
significantly to your goals or whatever your priorities are. Okay. So time wasters, we talked about that.
yeah.
Distractions, trivial activities are usually in that box. And so when I have individuals list their things that they have coming up for the next week, then I have them put them in the boxes so they can see where everything goes and what truly needs to be on your list and what you need to be spending more time on.
Mm-hmm.
Not.
Right. Right.
So that's the best thing about the Eisenhower matrix. So that's that quick win 1. Quick win 2, rapid result routine. And this is simply the 2-minute rule. Have you heard of that before? I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure I have, but yes, remind us.
Yes. So basically, we all tend to procrastinate from time to time,
Yes.
right? But the goal is not to let it take over your day.
Right.
Okay.
Get it done.
I get it done. And I also say done is better than perfect too. That's a whole nother
Yes.
story with
Yes.
our
Yes.
perfectionists, right?
Hmm.
So, but instead of um, you know, just waiting and saying, I'm gonna put this off, I'm gonna put this off, you still want to be kind of still in that flow, but you want those rapid results. Okay.
Right.
And if something can take you 2 minutes or less,
Right.
do it right then.
I have something looking at me right now that could take 2 minutes. Instead of walking around it, I could just do it. Yes, I
Yeah,
get it.
just
Yeah.
do it. I love Nike's phrase. Just do it.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
You know,
It takes less time to just do it than keep looking at and beating yourself up the fact that you haven't done it. Yeah.
absolutely. And one study found that 95% of Americans admit to falling prey to procrastination. So
Mhm.
2 minutes or less, just do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever that is. What can you do in 2 minutes or
Yeah.
less? Think about that. And one little tip I like to share with the students that I work with is schedule 15 minutes a day to work on your dissertation, on your research project. 15 minutes. 15 minutes, just 15 minutes. You got 15 minutes,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, well, I can do that. Okay. And guess what happens?
Adds up.
They end up spending maybe an hour
Right.
so on their research project. You just got to get motivated
Yes, yes.
and determined and reclaiming your time. This is what you do: 2 minutes or less, 15 minutes on the schedule.
Yeah.
Quick Win 3 is really about the turbo task time, which is really the power hour. And you may have done this yourself, I'm sure. That power hour is dedicated to uninterrupted
Yes.
60-minute time
Yes.
block where you're focusing on those high impact tasks, whatever that is. Okay. So you have to identify that high impact task, just make sure that it contributes to your overall goals
Hmm.
and vision, mission. Set a specific time that you're going to do it. You allocate it on your calendar. You got the hour, and that's all you're doing is focusing on that. Sometimes you got to get out of your regular environment too. Might have to
Hmm.
get in a different room or go outside of the office, whether your office is at home or not. Maybe go to the library and just focus. Set the timer, 60 minutes, and focus on that. Because what happens is you could get distracted if you're in an
Yes.
environment that has other people or other things. We
Yeah.
distract ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Easy, easy.
Easy. So I
What do
recommend,
they call that? Squirrel?
right. So I recommend turning off the notifications, which
Mm,
I like to anyway,
yeah.
except for just a couple timers. Turn them off for a while. It's okay. Close if you got a lot of tabs open on your computer, close those unnecessary tabs and shut it down so you
Yeah.
can focus.
Yeah.
And then if you are working around people, you got to communicate your boundaries, right? Let
Yes.
your
Leave me
colleagues and your
alone.
family know
Yeah.
available
Yeah.
right now for this hour, for this 60 minutes. Like right now on my office door, I have a sign,
Yeah.
do not disturb
Yeah.
in a meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they got used to that. And I started doing that during COVID. So, and it works. And then when you're focusing on your power hour, you want to make sure that your workspace is tidy and free from distractions, and you have all of the tools necessary just to stay committed and avoiding multitasking.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to do this, and oh, I should really be doing that.
Right,
I
you're
really, yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about
yeah,
something
yeah.
else,
Yes,
right?
there's no focus, focus, and
Focus,
I,
focus,
and it's
focus.
really hard for people to focus today because there is so much distraction,
It is.
right? And especially the phones. Yes, turn off your notifications. You don't need that ding of that text or that right now,
Right.
right? This is a focus time, work time, and if people value you, they will value when you get back to them, right? So that's the important thing. If they, why did you get back to me? I was busy. And if they don't accept that, maybe you need to reframe, who the friend is, because we've made ourselves available 24/7 with these things. And no, no, I keep office hours, right? 9 o'clock, I'm here. I do all my email or anything. First show will be 10 or 11. And at 5 o'clock, I'm finished. Those are my hours. I may check my calendar for next day or email in case anything has come up,
Mhm.
but that is it. And so we have to look at our time and go, this time is being spent, productive or not productive, it's being spent. Now I'm on to the next.
That's right. And I'm so glad you said you kind of have a cutoff hour, and we all need that.
Yeah.
have to work a little bit more past that, that's your time to
Yes.
do it. But what I recommend also is if you're working late or earlier than the time zone of the people that you're collaborating with,
Yes.
you know, I like to schedule my email. Nobody needs to know that I might be doing an email 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
If you know, if I'm on deadline, I'm scheduling it in the time zone that they are. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and another thing is my inbox can sometimes get inundated with messages, whether, you know, whether they're important or not. But the ones that I cannot respond to right now, I snooze it.
Mm.
So instead, I know most people say, well, I just leave it unread or I might click a flag. Well, I snooze it and set it for the time that I know I can go back and give it its attention. So even if it's the next day at 8 a.m., I snooze it for the next day at 8 a.m. And then that email pops right back at the top. So when I
Ah,
turn on my computer, I can see those things that I need to take care of at the beginning of the morning.
that's a good idea. What I do is I star it, put a star next to it. I need to get back to this, but actually snoozing it is better because sometimes you go back and you see all the other email and then you look at, oh, I've got stars to go back to. So if it's really important, snooze it and it will be up there and you address it like any other in your
Yes.
box at that time.
Absolutely. I snooze things for a week out sometimes. I mean, if you
Mm,
know the deadline is not just coming up in a few days, I snooze it for a week out
yeah,
and then I look at it. Best tool ever. And whether you're using Microsoft 365 or Google, those are the two that I use. And they both have that option.
I have to look at that
Yeah.
because that definitely would make life a little easier because I mean, there is that side of things, the admin side of things that, not all of us enjoy, right? We'd rather be in production than this, but it's necessary. And it's going through which emails are really important that need to be addressed straight away, which ones can wait, and which ones really, forget, delete. But that takes time to go through to do that. So you actually have to allot time just to go through your emails and make sure that you are looking at the administrative side of things and how sometimes, oh, I can get through that quickly, that was good, and other times like, God, this is dragging on today, right? And
Absolutely. Yeah.
allow the time for it because it's one of those necessary things we have to do. But I think this is, like what you talked about in the car driving, having a podcast, but is sometimes maybe some music in the background doing something that isn't your favorite thing, but the music upbeat can get you through something. What's going to get you through something you don't want to do?
Right. I love it. Music. Yes.
Yes,
And it doesn't have to be music with a lot of words because
right.
you don't want to focus on that because you're focusing
Yeah,
on something more
yeah,
important. But yeah, so even with all of these quick wins and especially the last one, um, you have benefits. And the
yes.
benefits is increased productivity, reduce stress, improved work quality, especially if you have that power hour. So yes. Quick win four is beat the clock routine. And that is the Pomodoro technique. And if you've heard of that before, that's where you kind of work for a little bit, take a break.
Mm,
So you got short bursts of physical activity, maybe during your break to kind of wake you up a little bit and
yeah.
enhance your focus and your energy, and then get back to work.
Mhm,
And so basically you work a specific task for 25 minutes here. So not 60, but
mm,
25 minutes. And you set a timer for that. And then after 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break.
mhm.
And so this type of cycle like this helps sustain focus and productivity over longer periods. And if you, like I said, if you got to get up and walk or
Yes.
dance or drink a glass of water or whatever you want to do for those 5 minutes and then come back to it. But you just want to be kind of active and maybe some move. You could do some stretching, a
Hmm.
quick walk, anything like that. You can do a lot in 5 minutes. You believe
Yes.
it or not. And even it's just around your home office or your home. So
Yeah. That's where the saying "take five" comes from, right?
Yeah, take five. Take five. Set the timer and take five.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you recall, when you were working in an office, you would see certain people probably get up all the time.
Hmm.
Instead of being in that rut, that routine, even if they're going having water cooler talk,
Yeah,
I do miss that. But they get up.
yeah,
As long as they're there, not there for, longer than 5 minutes now, because we got to look at the clock. I got work to
yes.
do, right?
But
But
just on that point, before you go to your fifth one, is that, as I started off, this computer is a time consumer. It can eat your time up before you even know what. And so actually having a timer, because I found out when I went to get these glasses, you have dry eyes, which is very common to do with computer, right? Because of the glare of the computer dries up the glands in the eyes, and that we have to consciously, heavily blink often,
right.
right? Which is really important. But the same with our body, right? Same with our body. We've got to get up and move it because, we start then getting aches and pains from being in this stagnant position. And it's that's where your well-beingness comes in, by taking care of these other things. And if you are taking care of these other things, you can be more productive. So
Mhm.
it is important to understand breaking the time period with the computers, standing up, shaking your sillies out, go for that pee break, grab a glass of water, come back, and you're ready to go, right? So it's important to do that, because otherwise, we start getting lethargic and we don't have the energy to do something, or everything starts being overwhelmed. So it's a really good point there.
Right. You couldn't have said it better. So absolutely. And even even when we're doing training sessions, a lot of times you typically would do, maybe 50, 60 minutes, you take a break,
Yes.
because we can only absorb so
Absorb.
much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're,
Attention span, right?
our
We start
attention
to
span is short.
wander. Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, and the last quick win, five. Oh, that is my favorite. Bliss and balance break. You
Mm,
know what that simply is? It's self-care and
yeah.
self-compassion.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, just taking these breaks and practicing self-care, it's essential to maintaining productivity. And you may not think of it from that perspective. The whole goal is we want to be kind to ourselves and allow time to recharge and boost our energy and
Mm,
focus. And this
mm,
does it. Prioritizing self-care is part of our mental health well-being to me.
yeah.
Whether it's exercising, getting adequate amount of sleep, engaging in hobbies outside of your work,
Hmm.
doing what you want to do, spending time with your grandkids, or your kids, things that
Yeah.
make you happy, make you smile, and brings you joy, you know?
If you don't have that, I don't care how successful you are in your other production, it's not going to mean as much,
Absolutely.
because you then become in the decline. And when you're in the decline, oh, I get, how many people have I interviewed through the years? Six figures reached the top.
Yeah,
Everything went into, achieving that. And now the health is cost, or the marriage is cost, this is cost. And it's because they didn't balance the self-care. And by balancing that self-care, coming from the place of the heart, loving what you're doing, you will be more productive in it, because it's coming from the heart. So never disconnect those two.
right. Absolutely good points. Because if you're passionate about what you're doing, you do it for free. You
Oh,
work,
yes. Yes.
do it in excellence,
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and sometimes we forget about ourselves, but we come back around and make up for that time. But practicing that self-compassion by being kind to
Mm.
yourself,
Oh,
acknowledging
huge.
your strengths and weaknesses, because we can't do it all.
No, we're
And then
not meant to wear all the hats.
no,
We're not
we
meant to. We
try,
weren't
we try.
designed to. Yeah. Yeah.
And then sometimes practicing self-talk,
Yeah.
that um as well too. And I like to say, and let me just say this, we can do it all. We just can't do it at the same time.
Right.
But it's
And there
not
are some things we can
no.
do better than others,
Yeah,
and don't constantly compare or measure. You know what your strength is, and either you delegate, or if you're going to do that, it's not good. But how important is it to the big scheme?
that's right. That's right. So yeah, those are my 5 quick wins, focus and flow framework, which is
Mm,
really
excellent.
prioritizing and delegating. Quick win two is rapid result routine. That's that 2-minute rule. If it
Yeah.
takes to let's do it now. Quick win three is that turbo task time, which is that power hour. If you can dedicate that once a day or once or twice a week to do your focus work, you will be in there. You will be
Yeah.
very much more productive. Quick win four is that productivity power day, which I don't even know if I say quick win four, but that's fine. I may have to, and one of the things that I do want to say about that is, and I got in trouble, and I don't want to say trouble. I think I changed it. I know what happened. I changed it. Um, I used to say quick win four was no meeting day.
Why did you get into trouble for that? We can't have a meeting every day.
It was
How can
like,
you be productive if you're ever in meetings?
it was like, there's no way. There's no meeting day in my organization. Well, you know, if you own your own business, you can say, I don't take meetings on Fridays. I don't take meetings after 2 on Friday.
Right.
I don't take meetings on Mondays. You know, you're coming back. That's what I was thinking in my mind a minute ago. And then of course my favorite is quick win five. Listen,
Hmm.
that we just talked about, the self-care and self-compassion.
Yeah.
And I think if individuals are able to deploy all five or some of them, just to make their day better and more productive and them being their best selves, I think, hey, you've already won the game. Because
Yeah.
this is what you have to remember. We have 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
We have 1,440 minutes in a day. We have 86,400 seconds in a day. You break it down. So what can you do when you are making sure that you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep? Yes, I said it. Seven to
Hmm.
8 hours of sleep. Um, in all of this time, and then get achieve those dreams that you have, the
Yeah.
goal, mission, your vision. But you do have to rest as well. Resting is
Yes. And I think kind of looking at the overall thing when you've got this implemented and you've really looked at it, and then it's really looking at something that you're about to schedule and go, but is it really important?
yeah.
Right? What is important? What is an emergency? And really defining, you know, how far is it moving you forward? How far is it, you know, the actual structure of what you're building? Should it come first? You know, we don't put the roof on before the walls, you know, and kind of really stop and look at something. Does this belong here in this emergency box? Or should it go down to another box? Because it's, yeah, although it is urgent that it does get up, it's not urgent right now.
And that's where the Eisenhower matrix comes in, and it's a good tool for individuals to reassess their priorities and kind of determine what is important and urgent to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a breath and really look at something for what you're doing. If you take the time to assess things, right? It's like we don't want people so busy doing, I did it, I filled all my time slot, but have you assessed what you've done?
Mhm.
And is it really something moving you forward? Is it really something productive? And you need that time to assess, you know.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, that part of that is that in that taking care of yourself is having a look at what did I really achieve today?
I
Like,
said it. Yes. Awesome.
how do people get hold of you? What kind of programs do you have for them to help them?
So people can contact me at deborahjohnsonblake.com. That's on my website. And everything is there, including my social media. But I will say my social media is at the Time Management Diva on Facebook, at D Johnson Blake on all of the other platforms.
Hmm.
I offer time management coaching. Typically I do a 4 week, 30-day plan based on the individual's availability. And that starts with a time management
Hmm.
assessment where they're truly, if they're being honest, they're getting their time management assessed. And we go over that. We do several activities to see what foundational challenges may be there. So that's I love providing time management coaching, but I also provide workshops.
Hmm.
So even talking about my quick wins, I do that in a workshop as well for organizations, companies, anybody who want to bring me in. And I can customize workshops based on the challenges that they've seen within the team. So I love it. I love it. I love it. But
If you don't love it, don't do it.
yeah,
Now you
absolutely.
have a free gift, the A to Z time management.
I do the A to Z of time management. That's a long link, so I'm thinking that you'll probably put that out when you post this.
Yes, people do. All they have
On
to do
my website.
is just put in Dr. DJ Johnson-Blake in the search engine under the self-discoverywisdom.com, and they'll have your show blog. But your show blog will be going out as well. But if they miss it, they will find it. Any of the audios they've listened to, there's a link back to your show blog as well.
Wonderful. But you can also find it on my website at deborahjohnsonblake.com, and it's there. So, and you just do the drop down and go down to free gift.
And you've also got meet drdj.com as well.
Yes, that's a platform. It's a meetdrdj.com. That's me kind of in an instant. You'll learn quickly about me, some of the things that I've achieved and done. And it also can take you to my main website too. Thank you so
Now,
much.
I'm going to spell this out for people who are listening. So, Deborah, Deborah, Johnson, Johnsson, Blake, Blake.com. And you've also got a shop up there as well where people can buy things from it. Um, and they can reach you on all of your social medias because your TikTok, tiny URL, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. So which any way which people want to reach out, follow you,
Yes,
learn from you. You know, maybe it's like I'm ready to do this or I'm not ready, but I want to kind of follow and gather some tips and implement to get ready for it. But bottom line is like when you know, when the gold is given the blueprint to build, right? They know the building products they need in order to build and how to build that foundation. Again, if your foundation isn't in place, it starts off with the blueprint. What's the idea? Right? How do you get to get this done? Then you've got to build the structure of it. So how, what time period is this going to get done, and that going to get done, and that going to get done, and then what's the next level? So never mind the time frame of what you're going to do every day. What's your time frame of what you're wanting to build and what comes first? Because that will help you structure things along the way.
absolutely. And in simple terms, plan and prioritize.
Yeah.
Smart goals.
Yes.
Plan and prioritize using the
Yeah, and the prioritize, you know, as I said, you don't put the roof on yet, you know, no, we don't need the roof yet, you know, and you've got the big vision now, you know, re-engineer it and go back down to the roots. What needs to happen in order to build to complete that vision?
Absolutely. And if you need some help doing it, please reach out to
Exactly.
blake.com. I can help you get started.
Otherwise, you're wasting time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, things that you aren't going to get done on time. And believe me, and I'm sure quite as many governments need you. And because, you know, when you look at the way they do things, they waste so much time. Well, we're waiting on this project. We're waiting on that thing. And it's like, where's the coordination? You
Right.
know, where is it? It should be a flow here. I'm all about flow. Where's the flow? And there ain't no flow. So time management gives you flow.
Absolutely. So, yes, and I can help with that too. So,
Good.
so
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing here today. This has been an absolute delight.
I have enjoyed every moment. And it doesn't even seem like we've been on here over an hour now. So,
Well, so much nuggets and so much wonderful detail here today and for us to take away. And quite honestly, you may have the most best idea in the world. You may have the most wonderful technique or the wonderful coaching this and wonderful that. If you have not got the structure of your time management, it will collapse. You need it because it holds everything up and
yeah,
it allows you to move forward in a fluent, cohesive way. So as much as we may look at time management, no, I don't need that. Let's see how you do without it.
and you have to be intentional.
Yes, yes. In
Intentional.
anything and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
with everything. Intentional,
Yes.
flexible with
Yeah.
everything.
Exactly. Exactly. Go
Absolutely.
with, you know, I'm the willow tree. Good strong roots, good strong trunk, but my branches can go anywhere in the wind and they will not fall, right? So that's what we want to be. We do not want to snap in the wind. So be
Absolutely.
intentional.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you so much for being here today, love.
you. My pleasure.
And to everyone else, don't forget to follow her on her Tuesdays. All the wonderful tips. Is that on your Facebook?
Yes, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, X.
Start following her on Tuesdays and pick up some tips, right? And don't forget, listen, learn, but apply. Please apply. Okay. So until next time, folks, may your time serve you well and may it produce your dream. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.